Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Authors Up. We are glad to have you with us tonight. It's our favorite place to be, we always say, on Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. So we are glad that you're making it your favorite place as well. We've got one in already. It's Nikayeta. Good what? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Where
Good
am I? What
evening.
time of day is it? Help me, Ruth.
Good evening. That's what
Good,
we say.
good evening, Nikayeta. Thanks for joining us tonight. And Linda has dropped in as well, and we say good evening to her. And of course, Miss Ruth is here. Queen Victoria is not with us tonight. If you are looking and wondering what looks odd, we are missing Queen Victoria tonight. But we know that she's doing okay. Her mom is in town, and we are
Mhm.
glad that she is able to spend some time with her mom. And Miss Ruth is here. Hello, Miss Ruth.
Hello. Hello.
How are
Happy to
you?
be here.
How are you? You
I'm
good?
well. I'm well. I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I am still around, so I'm good. All is well. We're gonna start out like we usually start, and I don't know why, but when you get ready to do your weekend review, I want to know how your little sister is. I don't know why, but she's been
Okay.
on my mind for a couple of days. So tell us about your little sister when it gets to be your turn. I'm gonna go.
Okay, my turn. All right.
All right. Let's see. My week was a busy week. My week was a good week. My week was a productive week. And I got two things I want to share.
Mhm.
Thing number one is volume two of And It Is So is in the hands of the great Griffin Studio. And it is in process. It is in process. We don't have a release date yet, but keep your ears and eyes open because it is finally in the editing process, in the process where it will be put together in excellence, as Miss Ruth always does.
Mhm.
And that's going to be coming out. I'm really, really happy that it is finished, and I look forward to seeing the completed copy. It's something about getting it in your hands when you've been working on it for a while. So I'm
Oh
kind
yeah.
of excited about that. And the other thing is some a couple of Linda and Nikayetta Pollock. Hey, Dr. Pollock, glad to have you in the house. I think Paula was on the show as well. But on Thursday night, when I was doing the program When Life Speaks, I had my daughter was my co-host, and she's on with me from time to time, and we had a discussion talking about reaction versus response. And we had some scenarios that we kind of played around with, and everybody had an opportunity to weigh in, and some put in the comment section what they thought. And one of the scenarios had to do with you have a child who is at breakfast and turns over and spills a half a gallon of milk. What would you say if you were in react mode? And what would you say if you were in response mode? So it
Mhm.
was that kind of evening. We went back and forth with some things, but one of the scenarios was you're coming home from work and you look up and there is a snake going across your path, going across your stairs. What do you do when you are in react mode, and what do you do in response mode? Well, the funny thing was that most people who were on the line and on the program that night said that their reaction and response was the same: run.
Mhm.
That was that was the answer. Just run. Well, sure enough, sure enough, on Friday,
Uh-huh.
guess what visited me in my yard? A snake.
Of
A
course.
snake. And I thought, no, not you. wanna- I don't want to see you. I don't want to see you. So I don't know what's happening. I don't have a huge yard or anything like that, but I have got little critters that just have decided to take up residence. I have so many chipmunks out there now, and of course the squirrels are there, and
Mhm.
something called a skink, which is like a lizard, was taking up residence out there, and now the snake has returned. And my
Mm.
act and my response was definitely the same: run.
Y y
So I'm, I don't know. You guys help me out. If you know what may be going on, whether it's the weather or whatever you can do to help me out so that I can avoid. I'm a city chick. I am. These little critters and things are just not my cup of tea. So you can help me out. Help me out, okay?
I always marvel at the people who are like, "Well, if the markings are this way, it's venomous." And I'm like, "It's a snake. It doesn't matter."
Yeah.
Just
Just don't want it. I don't want it.
don't
No, please, so I don't know what may visit me next week, but prayerfully I won't have to have it in the weekend review. So we'll see what happens. What about you, Ruth? How was your week?
It was good. It was good. I'll give you an update on my sister. So I called my dad yesterday actually, and he what he usually does is so she calls me sister, and he was like, "Hey, it's your sister. Say hi." And she's like, "No."
Oh,
And and he was like, "No, no, no, it's your sister. Say hi. Tell her you love her." She's like, "Nope." I guess I was interrupting cartoon time. So yes,
and she is what, 4? No, she's not 4.
she's 3. She will be 4 in about a month and a half.
In about a
So
month.
yeah, so she is talking more. There've been a couple of times where I'll call and she will just yammer away for like 20 minutes and I have no idea what she said. But, so she's at that age, I will hear, "Are you coming over to my house or am I coming over to your house?" And that is the extent of it. And basically I'm going, "Oh, is that right? Really? Tell me more about it." The whole time I have no idea what she said. So love her to
She's
pieces, but
right.
she's at that age. So
It's
it's
time
always
for
fun.
pictures. It's time for
Yes,
pictures.
it is. Yeah, I'll have to send some more because she's a piece of work. So, but no, I had a good week. So you got I've talked to you guys about the serial book that I've been writing, the serialization. I am down to chapter 41 out of 62, so I'm
Wow.
getting done. So, I'm trying to push myself to kinda write maybe more than 1 chapter a week.
Mhm.
That's the minimum that I do, but if I can, because the idea of still having 20 weeks left is still in my brain, but I gotta get out of that, but it is just seeing the progress of it and seeing, "Oh, I'm in the home stretch," so
Mhm.
I'm excited about that. Um but I wanted to share this book that I've been reading. It's called The Organized Writer by Anthony Johnson. And given that, we give tips and stuff to writers, I feel like this is for lack of a better term, the Bible for writers, to be honest. And his advice is practical and it is basically just about organizing yourself so that you handle your business so that you have time to write. And it's just, I mean, it is, like I said, it's just practical advice. He's not telling you, okay, you need to get this software, you need to do this, you need to do that. Basically, he's telling you, okay, this has worked for me for the last 10 years. I'm putting it in front of you. This is how you should do it.
And what's the name of it again?
It's called The Organized
The
Writer
organized writer.
by Anthony Johnson.
Oh,
And again, he is a professional writer. He's done screenplays, comic books. He authored his first book. And it's just, I mean, it's simple stuff. It's just basically learning how to get everything out of your mind, put it on paper so that your mind isn't sitting there jumbled up with thoughts so that you can write. So
sounds
I
good.
highly recommend that book to anyone who fancies themselves a writer.
All right. Sounds good.
Hmm.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Well, we have an author with us tonight that I'm going to tell you all about. Victoria just popped in and said she misses us. We miss you too, Victoria. But tonight we have a guest with us. Her name is Tammy Cohen. Tammy has been partnering with top tier corporate executives and entrepreneurs to develop their personal and professional brands for more than 20 years. Today, she understands her role as a connector and sees opportunities for women to thrive and grow exponentially, which is why she founded the Women Beyond the Table. I like that. And which is a business network with a soul, she says. Tammy added podcaster by launching the Beyond the Table podcast, leveraging her ability to connect with audiences by sharing her guests' stories and wisdom. In her consulting work, Tammy connects her clients to their mission, vision, and core values statements and utilizes her networks to develop brands. Tammy is a frequent podcast guest and speaker on topics ranging from branding to leadership. Tammy authored Text Messages to My Sons, Connecting Deeply in a World of Devices. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Like I said, she's a frequent guest on podcasts as well as being featured in digital publications. Text Messages to My Sons is a must read for anyone looking to build a deeper connection with their loved ones. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to do things out of order because I'm going to start where Victoria ends. Get the book. Get the book. When they say it's a must read, it absolutely is. When she's not helping brands stand out or women thrive, Tammy lives in Manhattan with her husband and three sons and owns 18 restaurants on the Upper East Side. After we take a break and a breath, we're going to come right back and you are going to meet Tammy Cohen and she's going to tell us all about text messages to my sons. Hang in there. We'll be right back.
Hi, Tammy.
Hi, Ruth. Hi, Andrea. Thank you for that lovely intro, by the way.
Of
Hey,
course.
Tammy. Hey, Tammy. It's a pleasure. You're a lovely lady, and we're glad that you are with us tonight. And you're going to share some things about text messages to my sons. I'm glad about that.
Me
And
too.
Ruth is going to get us kicked off here tonight and ask you a couple of questions, and we're just going to flow through and share with our listening and viewing audience. And this is a good book, guys. It's something that we all need and need to know about, whether you have sons or daughters or just trying to maintain relationships. I think this is all good news, all good news. So I'm turning it over to you, Ruth.
All right. So, Tammy, why don't you tell us a little bit about your book?
Well, okay, so text messages to my sons connecting deeply in a world of devices did not start off as a book. It just was me, a couple of years ago deciding that I really wanted to reach my kids and I wanted to change our conversation that we've been having. And listen, I mean, at the end of the day, everybody's holding a phone.
Yep.
Yep.
I was growing up, if your parents wanted to talk to you, you either had to be next to a landline or they had to wait till you came home. You were
Mhm.
in the house. And now we're more connected than ever because you could reach somebody anytime, anywhere. It doesn't matter where on the globe they are, unless you have a big time difference and they're asleep. You have WhatsApp, you have ways to message people. So since young people and mostly everybody on the universe is on a phone, I mean, there's like people looking at their phones every 12 minutes, just about, and some even more. I said, let me just reach them where they're at, and that's the phone. So the easiest way to do this text messaging was for me. And in the past, when they were growing up and they were younger, they're older now. I was like, all my texts are reminders or reprimands or commands. With the kids, like, where are you? What do you want? What did you forget? Like, what do you need from like, it was like that. Wasn't anything else. And listen, I mean, I think a lot of people are aware that in-person conversations are just not happening like they were when we were growing up, I would say. So figured, okay, let me text. So I started texting them. And at the time, I was going through like a whole bunch of stuff. It was the lockdown had just started, and we all had a lot of time in our hands. And I'm not saying that it was a great time because I know it was challenging, but I had time. So I was always traveling or working, and I just had time to like learn. And I wasn't really happy with myself. I didn't like where I was at. I wasn't in a great, frame of mind all the time. And I said, I want to learn. I want to work on myself. So I started reading a lot, and coaches and Tony Robbins on virtual Tony Robbins Unleash Power Within. And I was like doing life book. I was just doing everything. I was on Mind Valley all day long. And I just was like, wow, I'd like to share this with my kids, what I'm learning. And I like to, just to be accountable. And I like to share with them the inspiration that I'm getting. So that's how it started. And then over time, like the first 2 years I was doing it, people were like, wow, like I would tell, this is what I do with my kids. And they'd be like, that's amazing. You should put it in a book. And I was just like, okay, whatever that means. But actually, I wound up putting it in a book, and it just took a little time for me to get there because I was never the author,
Uh-huh.
kind of person.
Okay, so two questions. Did you write before this, and were you a texter before this?
I was growing up, I loved writing. I was
Okay.
into social studies and English were my subjects because I liked them so much because you had to write papers all the time. Wasn't great at math or any of the science
Uh-huh.
things. And I always loved writing, but I never even thought about writing professionally. Let's just say I
Okay.
just wrote for pleasure. I have journals. I've written probably 10 journals already, but it's just more for personal,
Mhm.
release and stuff like that. But texting, yeah, I mean, I text a lot because that's just easier
Mhm.
today. And people are, people expect you to talk. Nobody really wants to get on the phone, it seems like anymore. So I would always text a message. But I realized, like anything else that you're talking about with, the book that you were recommending and how to, what you have to do to write
Mhm.
and wait to have it as a career. I realized like you have to take the time. You have to
Yeah.
schedule the time to do it. So every day, like I schedule a certain time frame that I'm going to send a text because I want to think about what I'm going to write and I want to put it out there to them. But also, I want to try to be consistent. I don't want to
Yeah.
be not doing it because the time got away from me. It's a time management skill. So writers probably also have their time management where they have their writing time.
Mhm.
And actors have to do that too if they want to do this, because that's it. Like you have to make the time every day. It's not something you can be consistent about. You can't send a message here and there and think it's going to make a difference. It's a
Right.
consistency, letting them know how you feel, letting them know that there's somebody who cares about them. That's something you got to commit to. So I do it for my kids. I do it 5 days a week. I go Sunday through Friday because Friday night they come for Friday night for the Shabbat dinner, and Saturday and Sunday, it's a little more casual because everybody's sleeping late. They go out and they're not looking at their phone in the morning and stuff like that. So we just do it Monday through Friday, but it's been really great. My kids really love these messages. They wrote the forward to the book because they want
Yes.
people to know, what it means to them, and that makes them feel whole.
Oh,
get these messages, and anything can happen. But when you know somebody cares enough to do that with you, it's just it's a one-to-one thing. If you feel really good knowing that somebody's taking the time to tell you how special you are and how much you love. So I think the goal is, and what I feel is when I send that message, I feel like my energy, love and gratitude are such high frequency energies. I feel my energy goes up. I send a message. They receive it and they have an energy release too because they're receiving love and gratitude. And all the other messages that are going out that we're seeing nonstop all day long on social media, just everywhere is the lowest frequency energies. It's hate, it's violence, it's propaganda, it's indoctrination, it's a lot of that. And I think that energy, that higher energy, will win, will overshadow the lower energy, or just have a higher frequency and make a difference. And that's all my mission is to get people to send out more love and gratitude and less hate. I think that's it.
And it is a great mission. I mean, I'll tell you, when I first started going through the book, I was like, okay, well, she wrote. My initial thought was, okay, well, maybe she wrote some messages and there would be writing, but it was basically your text messages to your sons. And some of them, little long, some of them are, shorter than others. They were very well thought out. And I just, to me, I marveled as I kept going through it. Okay, she got a quote in there. She's got another quote in there. She's got a list. She's got bullets. And it was just, I mean, honestly, I think if I was receiving them, I would look forward to them every day. So we'll have to go back and reread the book so I can maybe read one once a day. But how did you choose, when it came time and you said, I'm going to put a book together? How did you choose which ones will go in there and which ones wouldn't?
Oh, actually, the book is the first 2 years of messages.
Okay.
So what happened was when I started, I went and I worked with Pen for Hire because I wanted to work with a professional group and like editors, and they know how to edit and they design a cover and they know what they were doing. Now, as it turns out, I didn't work with them for the cover design, but they're basically ghostwriters who also do all of this other work.
Right.
And so the editors and the formatters were like, wow, this is all text messages. Why don't we put it in text message format, which I never even thought about. And the whole book is set up in text message format, and it's 10 chapters. So I went through like all the messages that go with mindfulness and gratitude, or all the messages that go with love and family or time and nature are in those chapters. So you can actually skip around. People have told me it's the easiest book they've ever read and the quickest book they've ever read, which is really great because everybody wants a quick and fast, and easy. And I was just like, wow, that's very interesting, putting it in text message format. I never would have thought of that. But people like it because they don't have to go from chapter to chapter, build a story, and they can't miss this page, and they find the message that turns them on. They find the chapter that aligns more with what they want. And we have at the end of each chapter, the print version, we have like lines where I'm like, we have emojis in the book too. I'm like, try your message here, like give it a shot. So my husband, for example, English is his fourth language, okay? And he doesn't read books in English. He reads them in his native language, and he gets translations. And he picked up the book and he goes, I just have to tell you something. I read it in 2 Saturdays. It was the easiest book I've ever read in my life. He goes, and I really had no idea you felt that way. I'm married over 30 years. I'm like, well, I'm glad you read the book. Because really, but you know what? It's like now also, like I said, I was sharing what I was learning and I was reading. So my kids even said to me, like, they'll go to me, great message. They're a little long. Because I don't want to read long messages either. And I'm like, I know, but you just have to bear with it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes they're gonna be long, but they're worth
Yeah.
reading.
Yeah, I wanted to get something across. And also, what was really interesting to me is the whole citation side of things, because there's a lot of quotes in the book, right? And I didn't even know how to do citation pages. The book has about 3 or 4 pages of citations.
Right.
And as the editors were going through it, they were like, they're trying to, you have to say who it's attributed to, and you want to be correct. It's very important, because I didn't make like, these are my ideas. No, I'm sharing with you visionaries, whether they were from 1,000 years ago or, 2 years ago, the,
Mhm.
visionaries. I want to share what they wrote, what they're putting out there. But did you know, and I learned this, that like I would read quotes somewhere and it would be some celebrity was attributed to it, right? And then when it came time to actually go through the vetting, no, they never said those things. They were just quoting somebody else. But like, but people don't know. So they assume, wow, what a genius. Like what they said. And it's so funny. And I learned a lot about, these kind of things. You have to go to the real source,
Mhm.
not who said it. And,
Mhm.
you just learn things as you're going through the process that I really had no idea about. But I was just really glad that I wanted to make sure everything was properly attributed. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, so you said that this was like the first 2 years. Do you have a volume 2 coming out?
I'm still working on promoting volume one. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I had never stopped texting, so I have like
Sure.
2 more years of text and everything ready to go. But I'm not ready. And this book just actually came out not that long ago, several
Uh-huh.
months ago. So I'm like, and it seems very, I'm just getting going with it. So I really, I'm going to put more time into this. It was just up on the cover because it was a Book Fest award winner. The cover was up on Times Square on the
Oh,
billboard,
wow.
the NASDAQ billboard on Thursday, which was
That
really
is
exciting. Yeah, the Book Fest award winners, they gave us this opportunity, and we were like, I was like, oh yeah, I'm in. I want to go see
absolutely.
it. So yeah, so we're just like, I'm just kind of getting a feel for it. And like I said, I I never consider, like I've joined like, authors groups and stuff, and you see these are like, I'm like, these are authors. They've written books, they have series, they have all kinds of things. And I'm like, with my book, I'm just, starting out. But God willing, there'll be a volume two. I hope
Oh,
so.
that's awesome. Awesome. So
Yeah.
then the reception, I was going to ask if it was what you anticipated, but it sounds like it was went well beyond that, the reception that gotten for the book.
You know what? Like people who read it, like they message me and they're just like, this is the most amazing. It's so inspiring. Like I'm doing with my kids. It means everything. I've had people said to me, "I wish my mother did this with me.
Mhm.
I wish you were my mother." I mean, like stuff that breaks your heart. Like you're almost like if you feel heartbroken. I wish my mother told me she loved me.
Oh, wow.
Stuff like that. And you realize a lot of people are yearning also. They want to
Yeah.
hear it too. And they're grown up now.
Mhm.
They have kids of their own. And what it means to them to have like a tool that they can do better with their kids. Because it's
Yeah.
not that our parents didn't do right for us. I'm from a generation that, you grew up, you respected your parents, you trusted your parents, whether they earned it or not. Like it was just like, you
Automatic.
kind
Yeah.
of
Mhm.
you followed the line. You
Mhm.
didn't, and things kind of like have shifted. And I said to myself, like, I want to be accountable to my kids. I want to
Yeah.
tell them, I want to explain to them when I would yell or lose it with them. It wasn't
Mhm.
them. It wasn't anything they did. It was me. It was
Right.
me responding to triggers, and they were just kids, because you realize like your origin story and how you grew up is how you see things, because you're a little kid and you don't understand the dynamic around you. You just somebody yelling at you and you think you did something. And I wanted to clear that up. I'm not saying that my kids and we're best friends, or that they tell me, "Mommy, I love you." It doesn't work like that. I just wanted to give them a reason to understand that I'm a human being, and I wanted them to see me that way, and that I have made mistakes and I can own mistakes, and I can say I should be accountable to you. Now I want them to have that same ability
Mhm.
and see it, because that's important. I then demanded that they trust me or respect me if I don't give them a reason to, not just because they love me because I am their mother. I gave birth to them. Yes. I raised them. Yes. But you want to take it further. And that's where the connection really goes in. That's why I was like connecting deeply and trying to do it today when everybody's on the go and
Mhm.
nobody's sitting anymore. Not like we did. We sat together and watched TV growing up. I mean, who's doing
Right.
anything like that? So it's different. You have to work harder. Even though there's more opportunities to connect than ever, I feel like you have to work harder to make the connection than ever.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's why I did it this way. And it's great. They've been celebratory every step of the way. My older son, David, he put me together with the book cover designer because when he saw I showed them like, oh, what do you think of a text message format? And they were like, yeah, that's cool. And they helped me pick out the format a little bit because I had a couple of options for the text format. What do you think of the cover? They were like, no. My son was like, you are not putting that cover on the book. And that was the cover that came with the group I was working with. No, I'm going to introduce you to a graphic designer and we're going to do this right. And I was just like, okay. So they were very like instrumental and involved. When I did the book launch, they were there with pleasure, so it's really nice to have them, involved, except they didn't want their names in the book. They didn't want their picture on the back cover. I was like, okay,
Okay.
fine. Okay, fine. So
So how
every
old are
text
they?
is not their names. Every text says "Good morning, sunshine." That's how
Uh-huh.
and I realized, you could send this to anybody. You could text your love anybody. You could text your partner, spouse, your niece, your nephew, your granddaughter, your grandson, your daughter, because it's "Good morning, sunshine." And the reason, oh, good afternoon, sunshine. The reason I picked sunshine is from the song "You're My Sunshine." That's the only reason.
That's awesome. So how old are your kids now?
30, 28, and 23.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. All
Yep.
right. Well, I'm gonna toss you over to Andrea. What you got for her?
Well, I don't have a lot because I wanted to read. Um, but one of the things that was one of the things that I really really liked about the book was the way the text message began, because it's just something about, when you were talking earlier about usually the text messages of what did you forget? What do you need? Where are you? Why didn't you text me back? Or,
Yeah, exactly.
those kinds of things. But when you have an endearing sentence that begins, it's already framed whatever else you want to say. And there's just that feel good feeling that, somebody cared enough to want to say something to me, to want to say something that is not directional, that is not corrective, that is not, all of the other things that I get via text every day. So I really, really enjoyed that. The quotes are amazing throughout there. The ones that you have gathered from other sources and your own, because I know that there's some things in there that were
Yeah, sometimes I was like, oh,
Tammyisms.
yeah, like I was like, I when I say deep thoughts by John Handy, that's from Saturday Night Live. That means it came from me.
Those things are wonderful. But we had asked you right before we came on the air if there were areas or a certain area that were really special to you, that you wanted to read to us tonight. And you said there were a couple, and I don't want us to run short on time or anything else without giving you an opportunity to do that. So what have you chosen?
I kept it easy. I just chose two from different chapters. So
Okay.
because every message has something for me, and but I wanted to one with the quote, so the audience can hear one with the quote, and one is just something I just wanted to say to them, like just I was feeling very heart centered. So this one is from the mindset chapter, and it just says, "Good morning, sunshine." And good morning, sunshine emoji. That's what I write. Another summer day is upon us. I was reading the final pages of Think and Grow Rich. It is definitely a book that transcends time. Napoleon Hill states, if you fail to control your own mind, you may be sure that you will control nothing else. Your mind is your spiritual estate. Protect and use it with care, to which divine royalty is entitled. You were given willpower for this purpose. Without a doubt, the most common weakness of all human beings is the habit of leaving their mind open to the negative influences of other people, end quote. So then I continue. This is why I tell you that you're remarkable, extraordinary, worthy, capable, and disciplined. You're a masterpiece. You are divine. And these are the thoughts you must have and hold in your head. So either you control your mind or it controls you. And a practical method for controlling the mind is the habit of keeping it busy with a definite purpose, backed by a definite plan, and not open to or dependent on the influences or judgments of others. I love you and I love your vision. So that
Mm,
was something where I wanted to tie in a great thinker, but also to remind them of how I see them, and that, to keep that inside, and keep those thoughts about that, because, we can easily plague ourselves with negative thinking,
mhm,
with negative thoughts.
mhm, mhm.
And then there was, this was just really sweet. I just love this one. And it's in the Love and Family chapter 6. Um, Good morning, sunshine. Each day brings me another opportunity to start my day by letting you know how much I love you. It's my most favorite morning ritual. Nothing starts my day better than blessing you and sending my love. It's daily action that has become part of my thought process. My love and feelings for you are in my actions, thoughts, body, and soul. It just flows continuously with no break, no starts and stops, no beginning or end.
Love it. Love it. Now, did you ever consider uh, sending each of them something different? Or
Sometimes once in
do
a blue
all
moon,
three of them get the same one? Okay.
well, I send each message to each one. So
Mhm.
I sent three. Now, typically they're similar. They're the same. Okay. But there are times that I will change something around. That I will change something that makes it more, especially if two of them I did something with and one I didn't, and I'm going over something. So I try to, but basically I send the same message to each one of them, and they each respond in their own way. Yeah.
And I think that's the interesting thing is how they respond. And that just kind of shows, I guess, the uniqueness of each one of them, because it's like people say all the time, you can't parent your kids all the same because they're
Mhm.
just very different.
Yeah,
In
and also depending on who was born first and who is the baby in the middle, and my middle son Aaron, I called him my middle son, right? Aaron, he's 28. For the longest time, somebody would say, "Oh, what's your name?" He'd say, "Aaron, I'm the middle. I'm the middle. I'm in the middle." And I used to be like, "Why do we say that?" He goes, "Because you say that." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I know I do." But it's funny because they each also have their own thing. Like when I send the messages, when I started this, I never had any expectations from them to respond, period. I didn't send it to them because I wanted an expectation of them going to say something that they love me or they're going to tell me I'm wonderful. Nothing was like that. I said, I'm going to send them this message because I want them to know how I feel and I want them to know who I am and that I want to share with them and I want to try to inspire them. That was it. But the interesting thing is Aaron, for example, is always, I love you, great message. Josh is always like, I love you. David is like a heart emoji, or like it depends, like that's it. That's how it goes. So but if they don't respond because they're busy, they all work and they're out in the world and everything. If they don't respond, I don't take it personally because that's not what it's about. It's
Mhm.
about me reaching out to them, me connected to them. And my hope is that they do it with people who they feel need extra love or something or need help, or they'll do it with their children. And I honestly believe, Angie and Ruth, 100%, that when I go on to my next life and my next wherever I wind up in the ether or whatever, um, you know what I think they're going to miss? They're going to miss the messages. I don't think they're
Oh
going to
yeah.
think about what I did for them or bought them or this. They're not going to remember any of that. They're going to say, I wish that I
Mhm.
had those messages. But the good news is they have the book and they have their phone. Texts are still on there unless they change phones and lose all the texts. But yeah.
I wanted there's some things that it was very hard to choose because I wanted to talk about some things that I especially like, but it was just too hard to choose. It was just because there's so many really good things, and a couple of things I just wanted to say that just caught me that I really loved, and I'm not sure whether they are. I didn't write where the quote came from, so if you want to tell me, that's fine.
If I know, if I still remember.
One in Fulfillment and Purpose said, "Never sacrifice three things: your family, your heart, or your dignity." Those three things. You're creating the kind of life you will be happy to live with all your life. So don't mask your emotions and think you have to wear armor and project an image. Let who you are shine and be your authentic self. You can be sensitive to boundaries and empowered with compassion. I love, 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 love.
Okay, so who said that? I don't even remember. Is a quote there? Was it Oprah? Who said that?
I don't know.
There's no person's name in there.
It may be.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, I'm trying
I
to think
made
because
I
there's so
made
many
so
quotes in
many
here.
notes. I made so many notes that I didn't write it down.
Ah,
But I know because this is something that I am going to go back to for that very reason. There were so many little things in that, not little things, but so many quotes and so many messages within the messages that I just wanted to remember, and because I know that when young people are young adults, because we did a show not long ago about parenting your adult children. We've got all these things about the little ones, but your adult children are still your children, and how
never
do you parent them effectively? And one of the interesting questions that we ask was, how well do you think your children know you, and how
Oh,
well do you know your children? And it was really really interesting that the young people felt that they knew their parents better than vice versa, you know
Mm.
uh,
wow.
so when you were mentioning your son's no, not your son's response, but your husband's response to saying, "I didn't know you felt that way." There's so many things and so many times that I'm not going to say going through the motions, but we're just living. We're just doing life. We're just
Mhm.
being who we think we are, but we're not always cognizant of how the other people is receiving,
Right.
accepting, or hearing what it is. And that's why I think this is so important. So that we are delivering the messages that we really want them to receive.
Exactly.
And there's one other thing, the one that was in uh, advice. Yeah, advice. When you come from a place of love, your thoughts and words reflect it, and your emotions automatically elevate. If more people came from a place of love, the world would be a much better place. You
Yeah,
got
just think about that. Think about
Yeah.
the energy of the world. I mean, like, it's scientifically proven that the world the earth has incredible energy fields around it, and that it affects us. If you're at the highest frequency vibration, which is love and gratitude, because gratitude's really important too. Like,
Oh
that's
yeah.
what something I wanted them to understand, like, how important it is. Because when you are grateful, and when you're really grateful for everything you have, even if you think, oh, I don't have enough, if you're grateful for everything you have, everything is better. Everything's better. So I was like, wow, if we could change that and get that energy really high, like that love energy really high, and get it out there, you know, that the world it'll vibrate completely differently. It'll be such a good place. And it doesn't cost anything to do it.
Right.
Think
Right.
about it. We all have a phone, right? It's really easy. Send a message of love. That's it. Just be present, come from a place of love, and you can make all the difference. I live in Manhattan, right? And if you walk down the street, people might not be smiling. If you smile at somebody, They automatically smile back. They automatically, I've
Yep.
walked past people, sometimes I'm in my head, I'm thinking what I have to do, or I'm thinking I'm a little annoyed or whatever. And somebody looks at me and smiles, I'm like, I'm out of it. I'm not in that mood anymore. It's just such a simple thing. And it's just, you know what I mean? It's easy. And I tell people that. They're like, how do I start? What do I do? And I'm just like, don't, you know how to send a text?
Mhm.
Connect to your heart. You're still not sure what to do? Pick up the book. It's on Amazon. It has 200 pages of messages. Just tweak it. Do whatever you need to do because it's there for you. It's like, here, do it. I think um, anybody who wants to do it can do it. I don't think you need to have anything more. You don't have to have software. You don't have to do anything. You just have to have a phone and
Mhm.
your mind. That's it. You can do it. That's it.
I want to respond to something that you said too, because it is, I call it the power of the smile, the power of the smile. Because when I was going through a period of my life which was not the best, I, dealing with depression and any number of other things that we deal with in life. But I had been reading Norman Vincent Peale's The Power of Positive Thinking.
Yeah.
And I would read it on the subway on my way to work. And I got off the train one day and I was going up to my building and people were saying, good morning, how are you doing? And in that happens a lot in the Carolinas. That doesn't happen a lot in Washington, D.C. Nobody's trying to talk to you. They're not trying to speak to you. They're trying to get where they got to go. And I thought to myself, why is everybody talking this morning? What is going on with that? And as the train passed, I turned and I saw my reflection and I was smiling. And that was the difference maker. That was the difference maker because I rarely looked people in the face. I was always looking down. I wasn't, making any kind of connection at all. And I've always remembered that. I've always remembered the importance of your countenance and what it speaks to people because it can actually speak volumes, so that's an important thing. Now I got to put this up only because Victoria just would not let me be great. So she put in the comment section, get the book. Victoria, you're absolutely
Thank you,
right.
Victoria. Thank you. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you for making sure it got up there.
Gotta get it up there. And Tammy, how can people get in touch with you? What's the best way for them to get?
Oh, okay. So there's a couple ways. So I have a website. It's www.tc, T as in Tom, C as in cat, brand consulting, BRAND consulting.com. My email is Tammy at T as in Tom, C as in cat, brandconsulting.com. And the book, if you want, is on Amazon under Text Messages to My Sons, Connecting Deeply in a World of Devices. Tammy J. Cohen. And I put the J in just because there's another Tammy Cohen, I think she's an author. And it's like, you'd be surprised, there's a lot of Tammy Cohens out there. So I put the J. I never thought there was. I put the J, so just so it'd be easier to find it, Tammy J. Cohen.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, we all have that issue too here. So
Yeah.
I'm like one of
I know,
three
like
Ruth
Andrea
Griffins.
L. Hines and Ruth E. Griffin. I love it.
Yep.
Well, Tammy, is there any closing remark that you would like to leave us with as we are coming to a close tonight?
You know what? It's as I said before, it's really up to you. It's up to each one of us. There's no saying, oh, it's up to somebody else. It's up to this. You want to make an impact. You want to make a difference. You want to be there. You want to connect. You connect. And then don't worry about the other person. Don't wait for the other person to do it to you. Don't wait for the other person to reach out to you. It doesn't matter who it is. You make the step and you do it and you connect. And then you'll really touch another life. And that's what you want to do. Just touch another life.
Touch another life. Touch another life. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you so much. And thank you for being diligent to to write those messages and then share them with us the way that you have. I really,
Well,
really enjoy it.
Andrea and Ruth, thank you so much for having me on, and thank you for taking the time to like read the book. And I love what that you loved it, and that you have, you know, you felt good reading it, and that you agree with the mission, because it's become, I want it to become a movement that just everybody just says, okay, I'm going to take this upon myself. This is my resolution. I'm going to reach out to my children or my loved ones or wherever you want to reach out to. I'm going to do that. It's like a mitzvah, you know. Mitzvah is a good deed. It's a good deed.
Yes, yes. All right. All right. Well, everybody who is listening and those who will see the podcast or listen to the podcast, we thank you for being with us. Ruth has some information that she does such a good job with every week. Oh, it's almost better than Victoria saying, get the book. Go, Ruth.
All right. So we are on social media. We are on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube. Find us at Authors Up Show. You can follow us, you can like us, you can subscribe, do all those wonderful things. We'd love to have you. If you want to reach out, you can also email us at authorsup@gmail.com. If you're curious about the show, if you have any questions, you would like to be on the show, please send us an email. We will have a replay of this broadcast tonight. We'll replay on Saturday at 7 p.m. on Facebook. It will also be available on the YouTube channel throughout about midweek, same as a podcast, whatever your platform is, you can find us there as well. So reach out. We are here.
Good job. You
There
do
you go.
such a good job every week. That is it for us for tonight, everybody. Thank you again, Tammy, for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm glad that you were here with me, Ruth, and Victoria. Be back on track next week. We're gonna be looking for you, lady. We missed you tonight, and that's all that we have. Be sure that you start putting us on your calendar if you don't have us there already, because this is a great place to be on Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. We always have a wonderful time. We always have good information and great authors that we have an opportunity to introduce you to. So come back next week. Have a great week. And remember, you never ever know what's going to happen when you tune in to Authors Up. So come on back and be with us Sunday night at 7 p.m. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Tammy. Ms. Ruth, you can take us out. We're done.
All right.